Hey, beautiful people. I hope everybody is, in fact, magically delicious, blessed, and highly flavored. It's your girl, April Sampay Foster. Please say the Foster. Today, we are going to be talking about a lot, and we have a jam packed show. I promise you all, it's going to be everything. So, I have two amazing people. I have Miss Shamika Block, and I also have Kendra O'Berry. Listen, both of them are amazing at what they do. They are both in the psychology world, so we want to make sure that we listen to everything that they have to say. Amen. But it is going to be all that and two bags of chips. That being said, y'all, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Ooh. Y'all, I want to make sure for all of the beautiful women out there that you know that you are all that in two bags of chips, okay? Just like I said, the two amazing women that I'm going to be talking to today. So, Shamika Block, I want to give you all a little bit about her, and her interview is actually going to be recorded. So I hope you all like it. And then we're going to be talking to Kendra live, okay? So if you all have any questions, please make sure that you put those questions in the chat. I see you, Jean. Hey, beautiful. And look, y'all tell me where you're watching from, okay? Make sure that you all like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. As of right now, it's April Sampay. I promise you that will be changing soon. But make sure that you all are liking, sharing, and subscribing in real life. I love you all. I'm not lying. Not this time. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and tell you all a little bit about Miss Shamika Block. So, Shamika Block is a licensed clinical professional counselor in the state of Maryland since 2017. Now, she also served as a licensed graduate counselor under supervision from 2015 through 2017, holding a master's degree in counseling psychology from the Chicago School of Professional Psychology in Washington, D.C. Now, she has a master's degree in community psychology from Martin University, Indianapolis, and a bachelor's degree in psychology from Bowling Green State University in Bowling Green, Ohio. Her expertise is diverse. Now, in 2020, she became a Maryland approved supervisor, guiding counselors in training towards getting their license. Now, she did transition from substance use work to her own counseling called Block Counseling and Professional Wellness Strategies in 2020, focusing on aiding BIPOC women, which is Black, Indigenous people of color, also dealing with life transitions, identity, relationships, and chronic illness. Now, beyond therapy talk, she also facilitates yoga nidra. And aside from her professional pursuits, she enjoys Pilates, water aerobics, meditation, and time with her amazing daughter. So, hey, y'all, I see y'all. I see you, Ramunda. I see you, Michonne. I see you, April. Ooh, great name, by the way. Hey, Sherry, how y'all doing? I know y'all are magically delicious, blessed, and highly flavored. So let's go ahead and get in with Miss Shamika, okay? Much, Shamika, for allowing me to interview you.
Yes, anytime.
I'm so
My
grateful.
pleasure.
And the fact that a lot of people don't realize the relationship that you and I have. So you were and I can't even say you were my first therapist, honey, because I done fired some therapists. Okay.
Good
Um,
for you.
and listen, I in a heartbeat. But when I
Yes.
tell you, you have been life changing. You are the person who gave me my life back. And I just want to say thank you. Um, so to be able to interview you is, when I say the greatest joy, it is the greatest joy. And for anybody else out there who is interested in working with this young lady, we are going to talk about it at the end of her segment. So today we are talking about, when is it time to walk away? And so I want to hear from you. What is your
Yes.
definition of when it's time to walk away?
So that's a beautiful question. And first, let me say this. When we talk about when is it time to walk away, one of the things that we're actually kind of exploring for ourselves is what's called sunk cost fallacy, right? So there are all these different logical fallacies, right, that we have. But sunk cost fallacy is when a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or a course of action because they have invested heavily in it, right? So it doesn't mean that you take the situation lightly, right? So it can be anything from a relationship with a family member, a friend, a romantic partner, a job, with ourself, things that we've encountered with ourselves. And because we've put so much time and effort into it, we're having a hard time letting go and walking away. I would define that difficulty as becoming torn. When is it just time to determine that our return on our investment ain't gonna happen? When do we chalk it up as a loss?
Okay. Now, chalking it up as a loss. I know that we always talk about red flags. Like, lately, everybody's talking about red and green flags. Now, back in the day, we didn't have green flags. It was only red. Okay. Um, so, what are some red flags to consider when thinking about I guess, your early departure?
Well, sometimes it's a really late departure.
Touche, that part.
Yeah. So, one of the things to consider is, what's your level of joy,
Mm.
right? Is this situation bringing you more pain than happiness, pleasure, joy, any of those words, right? Is it bringing more strife, more difficulty? Um, are you exhausted because of it, right? These are things to consider when we're thinking about when is it time to let go, because we all give our energy to things and we have to decide, is this thing still worth giving our energy to, right? And that takes a lot of emotional maturity to even ask that question of ourselves and to sit with that, right? Because part of that is, what if I have a bad habit, right? And I'm using the word bad intentional, right? Maybe my relationship with food, maybe my relationship with the phone, maybe my relationship with sex, maybe my relationship with the TV, maybe my relationship with exercise, right, is problematic,
Mhm.
meaning that I am not in a healthy balance. I'm not in a functional space with this thing, right? And so I need to make adjustments, which is essentially a version of letting go,
Mhm.
right? And do I have the emotional maturity to be honest with myself,
Oh,
right?
I like that you brought that up, because I don't think that people are honest with themselves a lot of times, which I didn't even think about. And you and I had this conversation 100 years ago, about giving ourselves grace. But sometimes we afford ourselves way too much grace. Like, oh, I did this because blah, 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 where you're trying to make an excuse for yourself versus giving yourself grace, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you said that. So question, how do you
Mhm.
distinguish what is like a health, like just regular healthy ups and downs versus it being time to walk away? Because to your point, you used exercise, right?
Mhm.
And so when we think about exercise, that's always going to be a good thing in our heads. But
Mhm.
there are times where people take it way too far and end up damn near killing themselves because they want to get this quote unquote perfect body or whatever. So how do you know,
Mhm.
or how can you distinguish between the two?
So that's a wonderful question, right? And that line can be so thin, right? So let's just say I'm going to use an example. Let's just say I have a shoulder injury, right?
Mhm.
And I'm doing a particular exercise that can help me to rehab that shoulder, right? And maybe I'm doing that exercise, but I'm doing too many repetitions of that exercise, and therefore my shoulder is actually getting worse instead of better, right? Because really at this point I'm out of balance, right? The physical therapist, right, they said do 50 reps and I'm over here doing 100 because I'm trying to rush the process, right? So I'm actually harming myself because I'm having trouble sitting with reality,
Mm.
right? Or it hurts so much and I haven't learned to push through a little bit of pain. So the physical therapist said do 50 and I'm only doing 25 because I'm uncomfortable. Right. And so that's that maturity piece, is being able to be honest. Am I trying to rush the process? Am I not comfortable with the process? Can I live with understanding that part of my growth is some pain? Right. You know, as Americans in particular, we don't do well with pain and discomfort, right? We throw pills at everything, all of this kind of stuff. And so, one of the things that we have to sometimes recognize is that discomfort is not necessarily to be feared, right? Because many of us take comfort to mean now I'm under threat and I have to survive, right? And so then there's those of us who think life is pain. And so we have a harder time letting go because we think this is how it's supposed to be.
Mhm. I've been there, right? And so
Mhm.
I have to ask, boundaries. How do we make sure that boundaries are set in place? So a person who's going through this, so I'm gonna create a scenario. It's
Yes.
it's time to walk away from my job. I don't want to be here. It doesn't add value to my life. Yes, it pays my
Mhm.
bills, but it does
Mhm.
not add value to my life. And
Mhm.
I'm not able to pour into myself, my family, my home, my anything.
Mhm.
What can I do to make sure that between now and the time that I can find my next job, I still have to go to work every day. What kind of boundaries can I set in place to make sure that I can still maintain my healthy lifestyle, or, or
Yes.
maintain a healthy lifestyle?
Yes. So first we got to be clear about what boundaries are. Boundaries are about where I start and where I stop, and where that thing starts and that thing stops, right? And so if I'm at a job, and listen, I've been there, right? I've been in work environments that were not the healthiest,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and so as I talk about this, right, I can even reflect on my own experience. And one of the things is sometimes when we end up in a unhealthy place with our work environment, it is because of how we have attached to that environment. What have we decided that environment means to us and about us, right? And you can transpose this onto any of these things that we're talking about when it comes to when it's time to let go, right? How are we attached to that thing? What definitions of that thing have we applied to ourselves, right? And so a lot of times with a unhealthy work environment, we're trying to prove that we can make it better,
Mhm.
right? We can change things. And maybe we can, right? And this is often when I talk with clients about what are called the circles of concern, right? We have what we're concerned about, and that's really big. Then we have what we can influence, and that's smaller. And then we have what we can control and manage, and that's even smaller. And so a lot of times what happens is we're in the concern part and we're over fixated in that space,
Mhm.
right? We want people to see us favorably. We want to see ourselves favorably, right? And so we find ourselves getting caught in the cycle of doing too much, regardless to what the too much is.
Yeah.
Taking on other people's work, right? Taking work home, answering emails in the middle of the night, right? Dreaming about work, all the things, right? And one of the ways that I knew back in the past that it was time for me to leave a particular work environment when I worked in higher education was I would cry on the way to work. I would get halfway, I would literally hit the halfway point, and like I would just be in tears. And the first time it happened, it was really jarring and really scary. And I was like, wait, what is this?
Mhm.
And then one day, the lovely DMV and traffic jams, right? I was stuck in traffic for an hour and I had moved half a mile. And I was like, forget this crap. I'm going home. Right. When I finally got to a place where I could turn around, I turned around, I went home. I said, I ain't coming in today. And that was the day that I said, it's time to let go. It's
Mhm.
time. Right. And so part of it is when you find that that thing is deteriorating your mental health, your physical health, how you see yourself, how you talk to yourself, right? That means you're really far in the you should have been let go, right? That means
Yeah.
you've been holding on way past the expiration date.
Mhm.
It is important for us to learn to reconnect to our bodies. It can
Mhm.
be hard for us to know when to let go if we're only in our head. It's important that we're in our head and we are in our heart and our bodies and our spirits. Because when we disconnect from those things, we can't hear the guidance that our intuition, our higher powers, whatever those things might be for us that we're connected to give us the message that, hey, this ain't working. This is not an okay place for you. It is time to move on, right? And that piece is very important because I deal with this with clients all the time. I ask them, hey, where is this feeling showing up in your body? And they're like, I don't know.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, can you take a moment? Can you like sit with yourself and try to find it? And they're completely disconnected, right? Um, and listen, historically, we understand why that was necessary, right? We understand that, right? And that's a whole nother topic for a whole another day. Right. It's important that we learn to reconnect to our bodies because that's also part of the boundaries. Our body
Mhm.
tells us when our boundaries have been breached.
Mhm.
When we get that feeling, whether it's the pit of our stomach, tightness in our chest, a lump in our throat, our eyes get watery, our hands feel tingly, right? Our foot get to tapping, whatever it might be for us, right? Because it looks different for everybody. That feeling of, I want to run, that feeling of, I might want to smack you, right? Somebody get the bail money, right? Those are things that are letting us know that our boundaries have been crossed,
Mhm.
right? And so when you talk about boundaries and when to let go, part of it is we got to sit with ourselves to start figuring out where were those signs along the way? Because now we get to learn about ourselves and use it in the future, right? Because we're not going to use it against ourselves and blame ourselves for, you should have left 10 years ago, and we're not doing that, right? What we're doing is saying, hey, what did this situation teach me? How can I apply it in the future? Right. And that's actually how we give ourselves grace.
Yes. And I agree
Right.
with that. I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
And then we hold ourselves accountable so that when we start to see those things again, right, now we're able to say, hey, we've seen this before. What do we want to do?
Absolutely.
Right. When we're in situations and we feel disempowered, that's usually a sign that it's time to start letting go.
Yeah. You know what? I thank you for that because like I said before, you gave me a lot of that. You allowed me to feel empowered all over again. And so for that, I'm forever grateful. And so what I want to know is how we can help other people get empowered. So if someone wants to work with you, how would they
Mm-hmm.
go about doing that? Where would they go?
So my website is Block, BLOCK, my last name, counseling, P as in personal, W as in wellness, S as in strategies.com. I also have an Instagram with the handle of Block Counseling. And
Wait,
so soon
that
you'll
is
see
block
some things and
underscore.
content.
Block
Underscore, yes,
underscore.
Block underscore counseling. I Because that's important. Block
That is.
counseling and block underscore counseling are not the same thing, right? So you will be able to catch me there as well. And so for those in the state of Maryland, we can actually do therapy together. For those that are in other places, we would be able to do consultation, as I am licensed only in Maryland.
Understood, understood.
Yes.
And what are you working on? I know that you have some things coming out. So what does that look like?
Yes, so I'm working on a course about balance. I am also working on a booklet for my chronic illness folks, the ABCs of chronic illness, to just provide some encouragement to that particular community, and doing some yoga nidra group facilitations. So I'm very passionate about us getting closer and closer to not just wellness, but our core essence so that we each can shine our light as bright as possible.
Well, you know what? All I can say is please continue shining because everyone that I know who has worked with you is forever grateful. I will always send anybody and everybody to you. So thank you for everything that you've done for me. Thank you for being here today. And just thank you for being you.
Thank you. I don't know how to be any other way. And I'm glad that that is something I embrace, right? Many of us try not to embrace ourselves. And so I appreciate those beautiful words. Those are flowers, right? I appreciate it. And it's always my pleasure to help someone get to their next level and to be a part of their journey. So I appreciate you having me on, and anytime you need me, I am
Oh,
here.
and you know I'll call. Don't get it twisted. Thank
Uh-huh.
you.
You are welcome.
All right, beautiful people. I know you all enjoyed that amazing interview. And we have another one coming up. Now, here's the greatness about said interview coming up. You are able to interact with this amazing, incredible woman. That being said, what I want you all to do is in the comments, please, please, please make sure that you enter some questions in the comments section. Also, there's a possibility. So later on, I will put the link in if you want to actually join this conversation. Bloop, you are able to do so. So I will let you know in a few moments where you can go ahead and join. All right. Before we bring Miss Kendra on, I'm sorry, you guys, it's not my fault, but we gotta feed the people, okay? ain't your everyday ugly. Listen, it's a lifestyle, a movement, and a brand. Get your ugly gear at aprilsampe.com. That's aprilsampe.com. Ugly. Understand God loves you. All right, you guys. And you know what? We were talking to you, okay? We were. The conversation was all about you. So, like I said before, beautiful people, I'm going to be bringing on Kendra. Kendra is the founder of People United People United Counseling and Consulting. It's a virtual practice prioritizing healing through a social justice perspective with a commitment to well-being for all. Kendra creates a safe space where clients discover tools and confidence to enhance their lives, rejecting labels. I love that part. Rejecting labels that hinder peace of mind. Kendra offers non judgmental support and guidance, fostering a warm and friendly atmosphere. Those who have worked with her are guided towards a better quality of life. Y'all, please put your hands together. We can't hear you even if you do. So go ahead and put your hands together for Miss Kendra O'Berry.
Hi.
Hey, gorgeous. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I am magically delicious, blessed, and highly flavored.
I love
Okay. So as you know, we are talking about when it's time to walk away. So when is it time to walk away, right? And so I'm going to ask you the same question. When is it time to walk away? What does that mean?
Well, that's actually how I want to start this conversation, right? Because walking away is going to be different for whoever the person is, right? So you have to first decide, what does that look like for you? For me, it may look like creating better boundaries, like your previous speaker said, or it may look like reconnecting to myself, or making sure that I am in a place where I'm filling my own cup first and letting everyone else have what's overflowing in that moment. So being able to walk away really starts with the awareness of what is it that you need in that moment.
So I'll say this, and I'm just going to put myself out there because it's funny to me that one of the things that she said was that she used to cry herself to work, right? And when I was like, oh my gosh, I used to cry myself to work. There's so many other people. Right. So I was going to ask you, in a situation like that, I was going to ask you if you've ever had a situation like that. And is that how you got to where you are today?
So I had a situation like that. It was an opportunity that I took where I was excited about the opportunity. I was like, okay, this is a new organization. There's a new program that this organization is putting forth. I can really go in here and make some change. I can really do good, learn some stuff myself. So of course, started out with a lot of excitement. And then once a week or two went by, was constantly met with obstacle after obstacle with just trying to provide the care that I wanted to provide to my direct reports and to the clients that I had. And it really was disheartening, right? And so, of course, that lowers your motivation, it lowers your will to even go in and show up as your most authentic self. And then all of the backroom politics that come with working a job, trying to climb that corporate ladder that I'm sure most of us are aware of. And it was a point where I would pull up to work on time and I would sit in the car until I was late. And I was just like, I can't get out this car. I cannot do it. I don't want to go in there because I know exactly what's waiting for me. Right. And what always got me out of the car was the fact that I had clients that were dependent on me that day. But yes, I've been there. I haven't cried myself to work, but I've been in that parking lot contemplating no show, a no call, no show, plenty of days. And at that point, I had some other things going on in life that my wife and I were trying to bring into fruition. And I just realized like the stress of what I was going through at the job was just not worth it for me anymore. It wasn't worth my health. It wasn't worth constantly being in a horrible mood. So I decided to walk away 7, 8 months after I started.
Listen, My thing is, how are you supposed to show up
Yeah.
for your family? How are you supposed to show up for yourself? If
Right.
you have children, how are you supposed to show up for your children? You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's one of the reasons I'm like, I could no children. People keep saying, well, you could still have kids. Yes, I can. Do I want them? No, because I need to make sure that I can show up for them. Amen.
Listen, as a new mom, I have a 2-year-old, and I tell people if it's not in your heart, don't do it.
Listen,
It has to be
children,
in
they take everything. They're like, I want your food, I want your time, I want your energy, I
your
want your looks. I'm like, they want everything. You just take it all. I want your clothes when they get older. I mean, come on now. Um, so I want to go into relationships because one of the things that we really didn't talk about as much are relationships. And I want to talk about that. But I want to answer April's question. She said, what is the first step to healing after walking away? And I think that that's an amazing question.
Yeah, April, I saw that question when it first came up, and I thought about that. And what I can honestly say is something that I want to prioritize for all my clients that see me and we have this similar conversation is first making sure that when you walk away, are you walking away to safety? Right?
Oh,
Regardless of what the situation is that you're walking away from, because anytime you get into a situation where it creates stress in you, you are activating your fight or flight response.
mm,
And that in your central nervous system is heightened and it secretes all these hormones. It helps your body do amazing things when there's an actual threat coming towards you. But when you have left that threat or that threat is no longer viable, you want to make sure that you are regulating that central nervous system. So you want to make sure that where you're going is safe. Is it
mm.
safe for you physically? Is it safe for you emotionally? Can you be fed there? Can you be sustained there? Because healing cannot start until your body, your brain, your spirit knows that it is safe to do so. Because healing takes work.
Can you say that louder for the people in the back?
Healing takes work. And so, in order to do that work, you have to make sure that you're safe.
Listen, healing takes work. I'm sorry, but that part, because so many people expect that when they walk away, and I'll be honest, guilty.
Yeah.
I have walked away from things expecting that all of a sudden the grass is going to be greener. There's going to be raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we talk about this? Sir, ma'am, this is not how things work.
Mhm.
When you walk away, you now have a whole different set of issues that you have to work with. So making sure that before you walk away that you are prepared to walk away. That
Yes.
means job-wise. That means relationship-wise. That means when it comes to, we were talking about food. When it comes to food,
Finances.
finances.
And we forget that one, but finances are a big part of our lives. It's a very emotional topic, and sometimes we have to be very aware of how that plays into how we maneuver, how we navigate through life, how we, feel that what we feel we can accomplish in life too. So finances is in that list too.
Well, okay, so because I do still want to go back to relationships, but talk to me about finances.
So yeah.
No, go ahead.
So I'm currently going through a certification to become a financial social worker. And in that, I would basically be helping people understand their relationship to money, why they spend or save or budget or don't the way they do, and where that comes from. Because everything that we do in our adult lives is taught to us somewhere along the journey.
Mm-hmm.
We're either taught really good habits, we're taught okay habits, or we're not taught any habits. And that can have different manifestations throughout our life, depending on where we're trying to go financially. And so when you take someone who has experienced poverty, who's experienced coming from a place of lack, it shows up in other areas, whether they get all the money now and they hoard it, or they have no impulse control, or a myriad of other things, right? Or you have someone who's come from money and never had the issue, and now they don't know how to save or prepare for the next step. So all of that comes in with making sure that, here's the maturity word again, that we are mature enough to be aware of how we are using this resource that is given to us, that we work for.
Okay. And yeah, Michonne said it, that learned behavior from childhood.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people do. I was in banking for 22 years of my life.
Oh.
Honey, honey. And I watched. The funny part is, to your point, how people's relationship as it relates to money
Mhm.
from childhood. So I would go to some places where it's very, very affluent,
Mhm.
and they would walk in and give their personal paychecks. They would actually have their checks sent to them in the mail. You know, most of us have direct deposit. They would do that for their children. They would
Mhm.
hand their check to their child and have their child deposit it. Let's pause for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people and peepettes, we're having a problem here as it relates to how many people are watching. So I'm going to need everybody to make sure that they are sharing. Sharing. All right.
Yes.
I need all y'all to share it. Shake it fast, watch yourself, drop down, get your eagle on. But in the areas where people had money, their children would walk in with their paycheck. They would then ask for their balance and give it to the kids. That is not something that you will see in a poor area.
No.
They're not going to teach their children about money
Mm-mm.
because
You
all
rarely see
they
banks.
don't know.
You rarely see banks in underprivileged areas.
They act kind of like a check cashing store.
Mhm.
So, and it's unfortunate, but I say all that to say, yes, it's very much a learned behavior, and I love that. And so we might, once you get your certification, we're going to have to bring you back on so we can have a discussion.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
But let's talk about relationships and walking away. So you have people who are dealing with, let's say verbal abuse.
Mhm.
Okay. Now it's verbal abuse. To some people, they don't realize that it's really a problem,
Yeah.
but they are constantly being abused and they don't see themselves in a positive light. What can they do to, well, I mean, how can they get to know that that's a problem? Or can
Mhm.
they? Do they have to figure it out, or can they look for signs? What do they need to do?
I think intuitively we all know when something is a problem. Intuitively, we know that how someone is treating me, how someone is speaking to me, how someone interacts with me is not good. That's what those emotions are there for. I always say to my clients, there are no good, bad, positive, or negative emotions. Emotions are what they are, and they really are a compass to let us know how we're relating to our environment, to the world around us. And so when those emotions tell us intuitively and otherwise that, hey, something about this interaction is not right, it's then up to our wise mind to bring it forth into consciousness and say, okay, I need to do something about this. Right. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck because we know it's not right. We feel that something is off about what's happening, but we don't know how to bring that into consciousness. We don't know what to do with that. Okay, yeah, I feel it, but now what? And so with that, the now what comes with, okay, identifying what you need or want from this situation. And that goes back to our first point of what does walking away look like for you? Now that we've established and brought to consciousness that this thing or this interaction is not something good for me to continue to engage in or be a part of, what do I need? A lot of us don't take the time to ask ourselves that. What do I need in this moment? Do we need to go to relationship counseling? Would that even be a possibility of this other partner to work on their issues as far as how they communicate and relate to me? Is this verbal abuse a part of a larger issue and maybe I just need to step away completely on my own,
Mhm.
right? But those questions are scary. Those questions are scary because the answers are even scarier, right? Because the answer might be, if we sit down and we logically think about it and we weigh the pros and cons and how much that relationship may be taking from us, we may actually see that the answer is to walk away, to leave the relationship.
Y- Um, yes. What I got from that though
Mhm,
is self-reflection.
mhm.
And a lot of times to your point, we don't want to sit with self-reflection, right? We don't want to reflect on who we actually are. Um, that being said, do you feel that you could potentially give us some exercises? Do you have any specific exercises that you do, or that you can give to us to let us know how we can better self-reflect?
I personally love the act of journaling. Like, I know it's become such a pop culture kind of thing, but journaling really doesn't have to be pen to paper and like writing in this book that you have a lock and you tuck away. It doesn't have to be that big. You have a notes app on your phone, that's fine too, right? You have a specific folder in your email that nobody goes into, that's fine too. You got a sticky pad, that works too, right? The purpose of journaling is to allow you that space to reflect. I tell my clients to start off with a question. What's the question that you're trying to answer?
Hmm.
Okay, in this instance, is it time to walk away? And then you just allow yourself to pour onto the page of the phone or the sticky note or the word document or in that actual paper to pen journal, and allow yourself the space to answer that question for you. That's what self-reflection looks like. It is that moment, those moments in time where you stop to look inward for the answers that we may have been looking outward for.
Oh, honey, the looking inward. I'm telling you, that's just the hardest thing in the world for some. Well, and I say for some of us, it was the hardest thing for me to do.
Oh
Now it's the best thing. I am checking myself every day.
yeah. Mhm.
And, it's funny. My thing from walking away, now I know it's not the norm, right? Walking away from negative self talk.
Hmm.
Because we're thinking, walk away from food, walk away from, to your point, like how to walk away from finance situations, how to
Yeah.
walk away from your job, how to walk away from negative self talk. We do this every day, all day.
Mhm.
Our inner voice is constantly speaking to us because of how we speak to ourselves. See,
Yes.
most people don't realize that your brain hears what your mouth says.
Yes.
And even if your mouth is not saying it physically, your brain is hearing every single thought that you have. You look at yourself in the mirror like, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. Well, honey, yes, you are. Because anything that you say,
It's
if
true.
it's true, whether it's true or not, I am
Yep.
so fat or I am so amazingly gorgeous. Either way, you're right. And your brain hears it and it is going to constantly regurgitate, even when you are not thinking.
Mhm.
So I have to constantly check my thoughts.
Yes.
And that's hard.
It's no, I was just about to say that. That's not an easy thing to do for any of us because it's so automatic. Right. And it's not even just the inner voice that we've developed since adulthood. A lot of these things are with us since childhood. A lot of the ways our parents may have talked to us, a lot of the ways that our primary caregiver or our crush at school, like those pivotal important relationships that we had as a child, we hear their voice a lot. Oftentimes when I have clients that come to me with severe negative thinking, the first thing I ask them is, or whose voice are you hearing when you say these things? Like, oh, it's my voice. Okay, okay. But whose tone is it? Who else did you hear speak like this?
Mhm.
Right. And it's usually, oh, my grandmother talked like this, or this teacher that I had for amount of years said this. My coach always said this to me at practice, my mom. my dad whenever he came around, kind of thing. So a lot of that inner voice builds up from childhood, and it takes a lot to unlearn all of those things, all of those biases. That's what makes biases so dangerous, because they are so automatic. And it really is an evolutionary kind of thing. One, your brain has an infinite capacity to remember all the bad things that has ever happened to it. But because that's how it learns. That's how our ancestors learned that fire is hot. Oh, okay, if I touch this, I will burn. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to do this again, or I eat this berry, then our stomachs will be upset. Like, that's how we learned and evolved over time. So your brain's going to remember all of the negative things it's heard, all the bad things it's heard, because it wants to evolve and it wants to stay current. And so, in order to unlearn that, you have to basically tell your brain that everything it knows is false.
Mhm.
And when's the last time you wanted somebody to tell you you were wrong?
Okay, I know that this is not on the topic, honey, but we gotta go there, okay? Come and go there, okay? Because that's hard. And I say that because everybody suffers from that. They're like, oh no, that's just a man thing. Oh no, that's just a woman. No, 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 no. It is a thing.
Mhm,
Being able to admit you are wrong, or finding out that what you've learned since childhood
mhm,
is not true.
mhm,
Honey, how many times? Because I'm just, I don't even want to say it because there might be children listening. But there's this guy that wears a big red suit in the cold during the wintertime, and he
mhm,
brings everybody stuff.
mhm.
I met a girl who is in her like 30s, and she's like, I know it's not real, but I just don't want to believe that it's not. So because my parents taught me. Boo boo. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
Walk away, like stop, sit down, be humble. Okay? Leave it alone.
Right.
The way that you train your brain is, to your point. I like how you said journaling, right? Journaling is such a good exercise.
It's
And
cathartic. It's cathartic. You take everything that's in here that's swirling around and doesn't make sense, and you put it on paper, and you give it this space to tell you what it's trying to tell you.
Mhm.
Because remember, if we go back to what I said earlier, there is no good or bad emotion. Our emotions are simply there to clue us in into how we are relating to the environment around us. And our
Mhm.
thoughts are too, right? Our thoughts are there to clue us in how we are making decisions in our lives, what's important to us, what's priority, all of those things. And so when you give your brain space to really kind of put those thoughts out there, because our brains are good with holding things. Oh, I'm sorry, our brains are good with thinking things, but not holding them.
Mhm.
This when it swirls and the rumination starts, and you're thinking about the thing that almost feels obsessive, that I can't stop thinking this one thing, right? And so if you take some time, 5, 10 minutes at the start of your day, the end of your day, and just write it out, just write it out. That act of writing, it's physical, so it gives your body something to do with the energy. The journaling is time alone for some of us new moms or old parents. Like, it gives you time alone so you can close the door and tell your kids to leave you be for a few moments. And it gives you that space you need to really just check in with yourself. And with the phones, the TV, the work, the traffic, it's hard for us to really get those moments to check in with self.
Yeah, and that's very true. If you ever read Russell Simmons' book, um, oh my goodness, the book to teach you how to meditate.
Mm,
And now all of a sudden I can't think of the name of the book, but one of the things he said in the book was, some of us can't find a place or a time to just meditate. He
mm,
said, go to the bathroom.
mm,
And if that is not the truth, because if you notice, well, so my husband, he will be in the bathroom for days. And I'm just like,
what you doing in there?
did you fall in? Is everything okay? Do we need to have a conversation? That is his chill time. And I find that a lot of people say the same thing. Like
Mhm,
they just go to the bathroom and they sit with their phone, or they sit like nothing's going on.
mhm.
that's just their safe space because nobody can go in,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so sometimes if you have to go into the bathroom and journal just to have your you time, damn it, take it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but it's necessary, and it doesn't necessarily have to be journaling. And Chevette asked the question, what do you suggest for people who can't seem to find journaling to be a valuable option for them? And so that might not be, but please tell us.
Right. So there are a lot of ways, excuse me, that you can get those emotions up and out. My favorite one that I've been working with a few clients on is breaking plates. I have literally assigned homework to my clients, like go to the Dollar Tree when you got a couple extra dollars to spare, or even Goodwill, find you some 50-cent plates, find you some 50 cents glasses, write down what it is that you're upset about at the plate or you're trying to let go, and smash it up against the side of the house.
I love that.
Because sometimes we need to feel a little destructive to feel like we're in control of what the heck is going on around us, especially when there is a whole bunch of stuff like like your speaker was saying, or that control circle is very small of what we can actually take care of and what we can actually do. And so sometimes feeling a little destructive can be helpful. So smash some plates. For other people, it's cooking, right? Some people get very reflective when they cook. So it really is. If journaling isn't your thing, then figure out how to be more intentional with the thing that you are doing. Maybe it's taking a hike. Maybe it's being out in nature, going out into the grass with the fresh morning dew and rubbing your toes in the grass. Maybe that's your thing, right? Maybe going to the spa is your thing. But all of that still creates the space and opportunity for you to ask yourself your why. Maybe you have a good girlfriend that y'all call and y'all have the gift of gab when you get on the phone. Maybe you pose that question to each other. So that way you have a listening ear and you're able to reflect at the same time. It really is all about making it your own. I don't care how you do it. Just do it.
Y'all,
However you can.
y'all put a green heart for everybody who's going to the Dollar Tree tomorrow. I see Hope's going to the Dollar Tree. Who else is going to the Dollar Tree? So a green heart. I want a green heart. I want to know that y'all are really going to the Dollar Tree tomorrow, or down to the down to the what's the other place?
Goodwill, Dollar Tree. You got some yard sales going on. Like, go find all these cheap stuff that you're probably never going to use again. Break it. Or if you want an excuse to buy your new fancy dishes you've been looking at, break the ones that you got in the cabinet now.
And I'm just going to put it out there for those of you who are down to the Augusta. They have a new place. I do not know what it's called. Please do not ask me, but it is downtown where you can go and break things.
Yes.
And honey, so I think that what we're going to have to do is do an Ugly Girl Talk event down to the glass breaking place.
I'm down for that. There's a place in North Augusta too that allows you to like splatter paint everywhere.
And that's all I ever wanted to do.
Yep.
Listen, I would like to do that and break some walls down. That's a lot of fun. Okay. She's taking some goggles. Yes, please do that. Please, please, and please. But no, these are amazing ideas. Seriously. And they're saying that they're glad you joined. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Honey. Speaking of, how can we follow you?
So I am always available at my website. You can book a 15-minute consultation through the website and just learn a little bit more about what I do and some of my practice philosophies on my website, which is purelyunited.com. Yes, there it is. Perfect. And then of course I'm on some of the socials because I'm not a big social media girl, but I am on Instagram and Facebook. So my Instagram handle is People United _LLC. And you can find me on Facebook at People United Counseling and Consulting. No, that's fine. I think you can look it up through there too.
Okay.
So if you go to my website and you subscribe down below, then you will be able to get our monthly newsletter, a newsletter that I send out to all of my subscribers every month, where there's some free mental health advice on there. And then also some opportunities where you can see me out in the public, where I do vendor events. Anytime that I'm a vendor out in the community, I also provide free 30-minute sessions for anyone that comes and shows up. So if you see me out and you got something on your chest and you want to release it, bring it to me. I'll keep it safe.
Whew. I want to add to everything that we just discussed, but first of all, the free sessions is amazing. So y'all, please make sure that y'all just give her some love. Make sure that you're following her. Just do what you need to do. Okay, because all of you all can benefit. I know I've already benefited from this conversation. And so we want to make sure that we have more of these amazing conversations. Um, oh, do you remember?
Vanessa, yes.
Okay, can I give her a quick shout out?
Yes,
Honey,
you can.
Vanessa,
A
oh,
spoken
honey,
word goddess.
ma'am, not only spoken word, have you heard the child sing?
No.
Honey, voice of a goddess. You hear what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
Oh, anyway, she's amazing and incredible, aka incredibly amazing. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining. I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to come to your events. So again, making sure that everybody signs up to your Instagram, your Facebook, and also goes to your website. So let me go back to your website. Everybody, please, 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 please follow her, subscribe, get all the information you can, okay? Because this was very, very, very informative. I'm sorry.
I was taking notes from the first one. I got my little notepad here, and I'm like, okay, I like what she was saying. She was great.
She is great. I wanted to also give my own little 2 cents, if it's all right, and that's to speak to your body. I talk to myself all the time. Some of y'all think I'm crazy. I am just a little. And it's all right. God still loves me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I talk to myself. I talk to myself to remind myself to say positive things in my subconscious mind. So the more I say positive things to myself out loud, the more I will hear it in my subconscious mind. But when I say talk to yourself, I also mean talk to my body. Now, I'm in the process of losing weight because a sister has gained a lot. And I said that I was going to talk about this when I did my Instagram post. And that was because I fell off the wagon. So I moved to Augusta. For 2 years, I remained vegan. So I've been vegan for altogether 5 years. And for a few months, a sister was eating the meat. Yes, she was. I gained weight and my fibroids came back. And those of you who don't know, my fibroids are the reason I went vegan in the first place. But I was like, oh no, I got this. My body can handle anything. Well, I went meat filled, okay? Gained the weight, my fibroids came back, all of the pain in my body came back, and I went back vegan very recently. And in the past few weeks, when I tell you my body has changed in the best way possible, my energy level is back. My pain is 95% gone. And one thing that I've incorporated in all of this is talking to my body. I talk to that fibroid like, you do not belong here. I talk to the fat, you do not belong here. I talk to my brain fog, you do not belong here. Okay. I talk to all of the issues that came along with me eating meat or me changing my diet and my lifestyle. You do not belong here. So I just wanted to say, like, change the way you speak to yourself. Not only great self-talk, but talk to your body in a positive way. Also, y'all, please make sure you follow me, aprilsampay.com. On Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. It is the April Sampay. It's April Sampay. And Also, a lot of things are coming down the pike as it relates to Veg Out and Dine. So if you all go on my Veg Out and Dine Instagram page, you can follow it. A lot of things are about to change as it relates to that. Real estate, have to put it out there. Anybody who needs a house, if you don't call me, we're going to fight. I mean that. I promise you. Okay, the lie detector determined that's the truth. So make sure you all are following me on Realtor April Foster, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure that you all are following me, April Sampay, and make sure you all are following me everywhere, Veg Out and Dine. I love you all. I'm not lying, not this time. Kendra, do you have any words that you would like to leave everyone with?
Just everything you do with love and kindness, even with yourself.
Oh, I like that. Say it one more time, just one more time.
Everything you do with love and kindness, even with yourself.
I appreciate you again in real life. Y'all, last time, be beautiful, be blessed, be ugly, and make sure that if you are on Facebook, that you join our Ugly Girl Talk group. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye.